welcome everyone. We're super excited to have all of you here. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we are having the very first question and answer for the 2023 NGFP Fellowship for this year. My name is Damilola Fasharanti, and I have my colleague here, Sarah. With Sarah and I hosting today, we also have NGFP Fellows. We have Danastria, we have Daniel, and then we have Nicole. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. If you can just go to the chat, we would like to meet you. Just put your name, where you're joining us from, and then we're going to get started. All right. So we are just going to do a quick introduction of ourselves as the host and as well as all the fellows that are joining us today. The same way you're going to introduce yourselves on the chat. That's exactly the same way we're going to introduce ourselves as well. And I'm going to start with our fellows, and then Sarah, and then myself, and then we continue. So let's start with you, Danastri.
Yep. Hi everyone. Nice to see you all. My name is Dhanashree Jairam. I'm from India. I'm an assistant professor at Manipal University in India, but I'm based in Berlin currently on a fellowship. It's called the International Climate Protection Fellowship. Yep, that's about it. And I'll talk to you more later on.
Great. Daniel?
Hi everyone, excited to be here and meeting you all and speaking to you guys. I currently work as an investment analyst with a global VC firm called Magic Fund. I'm currently having this call from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm also excited to be sharing with you my journeys, and that will be coming up much later. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Barreño. I am Filipino, but I'm currently joining in from Seattle. I do work as a futures learning advisor and have some foresight projects with an independent consultancy. You'll hear more from me later. Great to see you all. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much. So my name is Damilola Fasharanti, and I am the NGFP Global Weaver and the coordinator, and then I pass it on to Sarah.
Hi, everybody. So lovely to see so many of you here. I am Sarah Spencer, and I am the School of International Futures Network Weaver and Coordinator. And my part in NGFP is I'm also the Resource Development and Distribution Lead. And so lovely to meet you. And now I'm going to take you on a journey, very much like the one that we hope you will apply for. So thank you for that lovely welcome, Vash. Just a little bit about what we have planned for you in the next 45 minutes or 40 minutes. The purpose of this session is to hear a little bit about NGFP and our history, and also the fellowship and how it's adapted and changed over the past 5.5 years. We are very excited to welcome our fellows, and we're going to hear about their journeys. And it's also an opportunity for you to have if you have any questions, you can have them answered by us as members of the NGFP team. Ultimately, what we hope is that you will leave inspired to make an application or have been energized and feel supported in the application process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for sharing with us our agenda. And for some of you that are maybe this is the very first time that you are on this call, or you just heard about the award for the very first time, I want to give you a little bit of context to what the NGFP is about. And of course, this also gives you the sense of how to apply and what we are, looking out for. So the NGFP, which we call the Next Generation Foresight, started a few years ago by an organization called School of International Futures. So this is based in the UK, and of course we have fellows all across different parts of the world. We have network members across different places as well. The NGFP now has more than 600 people across almost 80 countries of the world. And the main reason why this is set up about 5 years ago is that we want to bring in change makers from across the world who are using foresight and futures to create a positive impact and systemic transformation in their own lives, in their communities, in their nations, and of course, globally. So we're bringing together several people, young people, well, not just too young, but of course, young people having so many brilliant ideas, bringing them together to build the ideas, the project that they're currently working on, and to have a network that they can also connect with to make a lot of things happen. Now, within this network, and of course, also in the fellowship as well, there's a whole lot of things that you would eventually experience. So there is capacity building. There are some of you that do not know so much about foresight or future studies. You will get to learn when you join. You're looking for funding to make your project better and to scale forward. You also have access to that. It is also very important, whatever thing you're building, to have the right platform to be able to showcase some of those things. So we give you the opportunity to access events, local events, national events, global events, where you could meet other people and of course share about some of the things that you're working on. Beyond that, there is a huge connection that happens every week within the network where you're able to connect with people, even beyond the fellows as well, to really build the things that, that can make the world better. And it's even possible that it's something you're building in your own community that someone else is building in another part of the world. But imagine when you connect together and build it, so it means it can become bigger. You make new friends, and then we could make the world a better place. Beyond that as well, it is sometimes challenging when young people build things, but the people that make decisions are not at the table to listen to the things that you're doing or to get a sense of what you can contribute. So we also bring together leaders, policymakers, people from different levels, of government. It could be local, it could be national, at different times, for you to also speak to them, to be on the same table, to make them hear what you are doing and the ideas that you are bringing to fore. And you can begin to build a lot of things from there as well. So this is just a very quick capture of what the NGFP is about. Of course, you'll still get a lot of opportunity to read more about the NGFP on our website. And of course, even today, you get a lot of more information about that as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vash. So the 2023 NGFP Fellowship. Our fellowship, as Vash mentioned, is a year-long journey of structured learning and exchange where we can support change makers to explore the future and foresight field by connecting you with like-minded people from around the world. For those of you who are familiar with NGFP, you might have noticed a slight change of language. So over time, NGFP has transitioned from being an awards program to becoming a fellowship. We've done this as a way of recognizing the wider journey of our fellows. Aside from the financial reward, the NGFP network is a year-long journey of structured learning and exchange. And we want to support change makers even further as they begin to explore futures of foresight field by providing them with, and echoing what Vash has just mentioned, a platform to connect with like-minded people from around the world, bringing you to the table, mentorship, foresight capability building, small grants to develop your foresight projects, opportunities to be part of region-specific or sector-specific hubs, participation in highly relevant futures and foresight events, and connection with today's decision makers at the highest levels. After being selected, our fellows not only receive a small grant for their projects, but also go on a year-long journey. With the fellowship, they gain valuable skills, build relationships, and develop and strengthen their foresight projects to generate meaningful transformation in their communities. And furthermore, beyond the 1-year fellowship journey, you remain a part of our network, receiving continued support and having access to a series of opportunities. And that's something that I think the fellows that we're going to be hearing from later on will tell you a little bit more about. As we move to the next slide, the important points, that's the kind of nitty-gritty, let's get down to business. Funding. So this year, all fellows will receive $1,000 to develop and accelerate their project. Judges also have the opportunity to award a Judge's Choice Badge to an application that they deem to be of an exceptional quality and deserves special recognition. At the end of the 1 year, there is a one-off additional prize offered of at least $10,000 for the project that has made the most of their fellowship journey. This is very much a pilot this year, where that's currently under development, but of course we will share that information once it's been finalised. In terms of the criteria, it's open to people aged between 18 and 35 or those with less than 5 years experience in the foresight and future space. Setting this criteria enables us to champion and promote youth voices and those new to the foresight arena. Our 7 global challenges. So this year, we are incentivizing fellowship applications from young practitioners working on global challenges to our collective future. And they are climate and biodiversity, nuclear security, democracy and governance, intergenerational fairness, emerging technology, indigenous and other future methods from around the world, and peace building. And we will invest in creating more regional and sectoral hubs to increase and strengthen the level of collaboration between our members to tackle the most pressing issues for the future of humanity. And so what does a successful application look like? Projects or ideas with a clear theory of change and demonstrate how you will use foresight and future methods to create a better or alternative future. So we look for a clear demonstration of impact. How will you engage your community in your project? And what impact will your project have on your community? Explain how insights of the future will help you create positive change in your community, whether that's local, regional, or global. If you're new, we want to hear about your motivation, about why you started your project. We want your passion on the page. Why do you want to join this network? What is it about this network that's important for the development of your ideas? We want to see and hear and feel your passion and creativity and your drive and your energy around your projects. Remember, this is only a very snapshot. This is a small snapshot when we see your application and the judges see your applications. So we need to feel you and hear you and just get your excitement and your energy about your project. Now I hand back over to Fash for the fellows.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We believe that it is important for you to hear from fellows that have won fellowship, because that's the way you can also tap into their own wisdom, how they got in, what they are doing right now, and the kind of possibility that you're also going to meet when you eventually come in. So I'm going to give each of them about 3 minutes just to walk through their journey. I'm going to start with Dhanashree, and then Nicole, and then Daniel as well. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vash. So when I applied for the NGFP, I was fairly new to foresight, so I was a beginner. So I think that's very important for everyone to understand, that you don't have to have like a lot of experience in foresight or futures learning or any of that to be applying for this fellowship. And with my background in international relations and security studies, I was always interested in anticipatory governance, and I had started working on it a couple of years before I applied for this fellowship a little bit. And I was interested in advancing my knowledge in this area more than really, like already having a sort of background in the area. So my project right now, it's actually on solar geoengineering and anticipatory governance around solar geoengineering technology, which is something that is being touted as a solution to climate change. And I'm looking at it from the Global South perspective, also applying the climate justice lens to it. So what do you really gain out of the fellowship? I think a lot, and in the past few months itself, I've gained a lot. I've, kind of started communicating and interacting with such a wide range of experts who have been working on foresight for a long time, but also who are also like at the same level as me. So you kind of get to meet a wide range of people, practitioners, educators, scholars who work on research. So for me, it was very interesting to sort of engage with the different kinds of people working in different sectors. So I work in mostly like climate and sustainable development sectors, but also, you can also meet people from education and other sectors as well. And one of the things, like, for instance, you get like training experience. So I joined a particular training session with SWAF, which was very interesting for me. I met a lot of people there, which was very interesting. You have a mentor who will constantly work with you to develop your project further. It also helps with your teaching and research, which is something that I personally work on, which is very, important for me. So that's one more part, and beyond that, like I also managed to meet like a lot of people from the NGFP cohort from the previous years as well at COP27 in Sharm el Sheikh, where we also did a session. So there are, there are various ways of engagement which I really found interesting, and I'm definitely planning to like build on this network further to learn more and also to apply it in my own project. Yeah. And I hope this will also be like a foundation or like a platform for many of you to also kind of engage with people from across the world.
Thank you so much, Dhanashree. Nicole, you're next.
Thank you, Fashion. Thank you, Dhanashree. So I learned about the fellowship and I applied because at the time, the Philippines had yet to undergo its national elections. And as somebody coming from a public policy background, public administration, and government background, I thought that election reform was something that was very much needed. And election awareness and candidate awareness, especially for the youth. And what motivated me to apply was trying to apply a futures lens to a project where we come up with a national vision for the country so that we can get the different perspectives, the different stories that people would like to see in the future, and try to see how maybe we could come up with a way to achieve it. My background in foresight was very minimal at the time. I had learned a bit about some tools, did some online courses, which I'm sure is very accessible to anybody. You can take a look for free online courses, and these can help give you a better idea of what Futures and Foresight is about. And throughout the journey of being a fellow, I was very fortunate to be able to learn from so many people who are well established in the field, receive some feedback from other fellows and some of the mentors in the network on my project, and also connect with other people who were doing similar work to see how they had fared. But I think my favorite part about being a fellow is being able to be part of the network and be able to contribute to the projects of the other fellows, like if they need facilitators or if they need somebody to help out with a project. The NGFP network is something that you can definitely use, especially if you are very interested in building connections. It's great to help one another out, and you get to see the different experiences around the world of how to use Futures and Foresight. So I think it would be very great if you guys thought long and hard about what change you want to see in the world, what's something that you think Futures and Foresight could be applied to that would have a great effect, so that you can really find the motivations for your project and put together an amazing application. All the best of luck to you.
Right. And Nicole finishes that with all the best. So definitely all the best to you. All right, let's pass it on to Daniel.
Thank you so much, Fash. And I must attest to the fact that Nicole is actually an amazing co-facilitator. She's really amazing in the space. Well, my own foresight journey is quite interesting because I had zero knowledge of foresight. I was a complete newbie to the whole thing. However, my current profession, I work as an investment professional. And what we do every day is to think about the future of the businesses we invest in and how can we apply like various tools to ensure that we make the right investment. Meaning we practice foresight, but not in a structured format. And so I started thinking of how to bring foresight into this space and making use of all the methodologies that existed. I had a fellow who was like a close friend of mine who was practicing foresight, but for the climate space and for the agricultural space. And I started asking, how do I take these concepts that she's currently using in this field to my own field. And that was how I got introduced into the concept of foresight. I heard about the NGFP fellowship through her, and I took the bold step because when you look at the awards on the NGFP website, you would see most of these people doing really amazing things, and you'd be so scared to apply, and you'd be wondering, oh, am I worthy enough to apply for this? Would I be able to get it? So I was in that position, right? And I took that bold step. I put in time into my application. And yes, I got into the fellowship. I joined the amazing people I had seen on the website, meaning that I was worthy enough to be part of them. And I got started with my project. My project is basically to take foresight, introduce it to small business owners and startup founders so that they can apply foresight to their businesses, prepare themselves for opportunities, and also be able to tackle threats that might occur in the future, because we live in a very volatile and uncertain world. And that was how I got into the NGFP Fellowship, and it has been completely amazing. The support from the NGFP team alone is overwhelming. You have them coming at you with lots of opportunities, with all the support you need to excel at whatever project it is, because foresight can be applied to whatever project, whatever industry or sector. And so these people are well qualified and equipped to support you. You're also introduced to a large network. So you have the Sensing network, you also have fellows like yourself, and all of these persons have various skills that would definitely be very useful in your project. That's for the entire year. You're also connected to mentors. I was connected to an amazing mentor from Kenya, and he has been really supportive in my journey. And you get to go through training, right? So my training was very intense. And I was able to move from being a newbie to someone who had, like, let's say, amateur level of what foresight is and some of the tools and methodologies that could be applied. And I'm still on this journey every day. So these are some of the things that the NGFP network has been able to give to me, taking me from this baby next generation foresight practitioner to being someone who can go ahead to speak at various events. I was part of the event with UNICEF that looked at the future of young people. I'm currently speaking today at the UN Future Generations program for young people also. So these are some of the things that foresight has been able to grant me the opportunity to do. And I'm forever grateful for joining this network and being part of it. Thank you, Flash.
Thank you, Daniel. That was really awesome. And Nicole and Danasri. As the slide says, it's questions and answers. So now the floor is open to you guys who have any questions for us, the NGFP team members, or our fellows that you've just heard from. Please pop them in the chat box and we can answer. I do have a question while people are thinking about them. Are there any hints or tips in regards to how you constructed your application for the fellowship, or any things that you learned after applying and since becoming a fellow that you wish you had used in your application but didn't, that you can share with the group?
I suppose I could go first.
Thank you.
I learned about the fellowship, I think, with maybe 2 days before the deadline. So that was a big scramble. You guys know about it well in advance. So that's great. You have time to plan out what is it that you want to do. And I recommend that you have a list of the things you want to talk about, maybe have a script prepared so that you can have a recording that fits within the time limits, and all about content. Just speak from the heart. Talk about why this project is so important to you, what change you think it will bring about in the world, and get the judges and the people who will be reviewing your videos, your applications, to feel the same excitement that you do, because I'm sure that you all have amazing ideas in your minds about how to make the world a better place. The thing is just how to communicate it and talk very specifically about how you think the fellowship would help you do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Danasri, Daniel, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, in addition to that, I would like to add that you have to start your application early. Like Nicole, she heard about hers 2 days to the end, but I heard about mine a month, and I waited till 2 days to the end, just like Nicole. And I had to go through all of the questions and put everything all together, which I could have done a whole lot better if I had started earlier. My video, while creating my video for my application, my laptop crashed a couple of times and I wasn't able to like submit it as early as I would have wanted to. So it's important to like start very early, right? Put all your thoughts into it and ensure that you're putting your best foot forward and submit a very great application.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like what Nicole and Daniel mentioned, obviously you have to start a bit early. But apart from that, I think for me, I found that it's also important to go from the specific to the general, like, trying to navigate these different issues together, because I felt that, of course, you need a specific project that you're working on, but also it needs to have a general purpose. How are you really going to integrate this into your work or into your, like, for instance, for me, research, teaching, and policy, like, which is very important. All three are important. So for me, it was important to show that this specific project is also going to add to my, like broader goals of, enhancing foresight integration into my research and teaching and policy. So that's, I think, very important to have like a balance between the specific and the general, and not like get stuck with the specifics too much, because that also will not be, I guess that is not reflective of who you are as a person as well. That's very important. Yeah.
Thank you, Dhanasree. Just going to chat bots. There are a couple of questions. I think Lauren Davis and Zohre have asked questions around the expectation on time that one should invest in the fellowship, and should our project be integrated with our full-time work or more of a personal project? So in answer to, I think I can amalgamate the answer for both of those questions. It's entirely up to you how much of your time you invest in your projects. It doesn't need to be integrated as part of your full-time work. Majority of the projects that have come through on the fellows are aside to a full-time day job. Those that are lucky enough to be able to work on their projects as part of their day job, that's a very aspirational place to be. But yeah, it's entirely down to you on how much you invest your time. To answer a little question, I'm kind of bumping in another one around what is the motivation or the goal in a couple of lines about the fellowship. And this also links into the answer I'm giving. The goal is for the fellows is if you have a project and an idea and you want to connect with like-minded people or join a network across the globe from many walks of life and from a complete diverse lens, then join us, because you will hear from people who are aligned, you will hear from people who challenge, you will hear from people who will teach, you will hear from people who learn. Our mission is to amplify your voices and to accelerate youth voices in a meaningful way. So we are your personal cheerleaders, and our mission and our passion is to make your voices heard. So you may whisper them very quietly to us, but we will speak them volumes and make sure that the right people hear what you have to talk about. So I hope that answers a multitude of questions. I don't know if any of please jump in, Fash, and I think Katie's online as well, and any of the fellows, if you have anything to add to the answers that I'm giving, just jump in. It's a team effort.
Yeah, I wanted to add that in addition to like just applying, some of the benefits or the usefulness of the fellowship is a lot of us here that are on this call or this webinar really want to change our lives. We want to change the lives of our industries and like the experiences we have there. For example, I did want to change my industry and think about what the future holds for myself and other people working in my industry. So the easiest step I usually tell people is to look at what is most interesting to you, what is most important to you. Think about how you want to change that. Think about how the future of that would be. then write an application on that, right? Write an application, go online, look at some of the tools, look at how you can easily apply them, because we already use some of these tools. We might not just know we use them, right? So make some researches and now create like an application that creates that future you want for your industry and submit that. And most likely, if you're able to do that perfectly, then you would get into the fellowship.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Just a couple of logistical questions, which I didn't cover in my criteria. Do teams of 2 have the option to apply? Absolutely. So it's individual applications and team applications are welcome. The fellowship is going to continue online. So in an ideal world, we would all connect and be in person because magic happens when people are in a room. What the NGFP and what the pandemic has done is, and what NGFP has adapted to do, is that we are so awesome at connecting virtually, and we try and be as creative as possible on how we come together and how we convene. So largely the fellowship is online because this is where we can bring our global community together really easily, which is online. But we do have pockets around the world where we can connect you and we can say, hey, Daniel, we know X, Y, and Z are right next to you. Why don't you hook up in a couple of weeks' time? So we facilitate in-person gatherings and convenings where appropriate and where is able to, and where people have access to the NGFP community, we will enable that. Fash is the NGFP network weaver. He can probably add to that because he is the master of ceremonies and the magic man. So take it away, Fash. Tell him how else you get these guys together.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah. Maybe just to add something as well on the question about teams. So you can apply with your team members to up to 5. So that's kind of the maximum. But then it's important for you to have like a team lead, because this team lead would need to coordinate a lot of things. For example, you get a mentor. So for your team of 5, you get just one mentor. And it is important for a team lead to communicate with mentor and of course to organize meetings and things like that. But everyone becomes a fellow. So far you win the fellowship, but then it is open to, as you know, that. Of course, in your application as well, it's important for you to give a sense of your team. So for example, in your video, the 5 of you can record the video. It makes it interesting and for us to get a sense of that teamship that you have. So that's just something to add as well. Yes, the fellowship is online, but of course we are always looking for opportunities and, you know, at different times to ensure that we can connect offline. So there are times that fellows are traveling to certain places. So within the community, people would share to say, hey guys, I'm in Colombia, who is around, you know, meetups could happen. And there are times as well, and this is already happening right now, where we are bringing together people within the nation together. We just had a physical meetup of members, actually, not just fellows, in Kenya just a few weeks ago, which was a physical event. So all of these things are also possible, and you will get to experience this as often as possible.
Thank you, Vash. And yeah, Kat Tully, who is the director of SWAF, she is currently in South America, and she is out there meeting our South American network members. And so anywhere she is, she puts a WhatsApp out. So we have a WhatsApp group that connects all of the members in the network. And she'll be like, hey, I'm in Santiago on X date, come and meet me. So where we try and connect in many forms and shapes. I just wonder, while we're on the subject of talking about in-person meeting, Dhanasri, you mentioned COP27. That was another opportunity. I just wonder if you would care to share just another little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think just like Daniel mentioned about UNICEF, like there was like this NGFP network members who were there at the COP27. Youth-led organizations, of which I was also a part, and I was very happy to, have this event, which at the Youth Pavilion, which looked at, specifically like on sustainable development goals and looking at education sector and what can it really contribute to climate action, and how do the youth really envision the futures, when we look at especially the way the climate crisis is evolving. And we were a group of, as far as I remember, around 10 people who coordinated the entire session. And we had quite a good participation as well, because at this particular COP, this was the first time there was a youth pavilion at COP, which was an amazing experience in itself. Just being there and talking to many young people who had a vision, basically, of what the world should look like, at least in the future. And also, which is very critical to this, is also about how do you really influence policy, right? So it is by being in such spaces, and also continuously talking about it and writing about it, and being out in the streets, raising these concerns. And I think at COP27 we saw like all these different communities getting together to talk about these issues. And yeah, it was something which did have an impact. And I saw that it was not just the youth pavilion, because it kind of spread out between different pavilions, and also talking to different stakeholders and rights holders, which is very relevant to climate action and climate policy. So yeah, so it's also about making a difference on the ground by raising these issues. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dhanasri. Moving away from how we connect, a question for the fellows from Pooja. What's a typical week as a fellow? How many hours do you find yourself committing to your fellowship project? And did any of you, or do any of you, have full-time jobs?
I mean, I have a full-time job, so and yeah. So I mean, I think it's flexible from what, like, if I can just start by saying, like, it's very flexible. I don't think there's any like stipulated time period that you need to spend. And obviously, so you will be allotted a mentor, so with whom you can speak about what are the how do you really want to pace your research or your work, or whatever you want to how you have framed it. Because for me it was a lot more research oriented. For many others it may not be research oriented, it may be more like impact oriented, something which is more on the in terms of how do you change the industry, or how do you change something else. So so you can really pace it according to your requirements, and according to the kind of discussion that you've had with SWAF, and the mentor whom who can help you with really just the way you can. I mean, as I said, it's not something that you need to spend these many hours. It really depends on how much you can spend, and maybe you can also kind of link it with your existing work, so it doesn't have to be like an additional burden on you. So
thank you.
Yeah.
And you, Nicole?
Yeah, I do have a full-time job, and I fully agree with what Dhanasri was saying. I will say that you get the most out of the fellowship when you put the most work into it. The more you engage with the community, the more time you spend attending the monthly meetings, the more time you spend outside of it connecting with your other fellows. That's when you really get to build the connections that will help you make your project a success. So again, it's completely flexible, but do note that you get more, you get what you put into it, I think. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to summarize, right, I think a lot of your time will also be spent learning, right? You're going to constantly be learning and applying at the same time. So like Daniel has said, like, HAS is research oriented, but people like myself have to like practically carry out our projects. So that means that as I learn, I have to think about how to apply it. And that is the kind of situation a lot of you will be finding yourselves in. And NGFP has also made it quite exciting this year, because all fellows will be getting funding, which makes your work easier, right? So you would be able to apply that funding directly into, I think there's a question related to that. And so the funding is expected to make your work easier, your project easier, and so you're able to apply that. But there's also this exciting $10,000, which is still being worked on. And what that means is that the more you're able to work on your project, the more possible it would be for you to get that big funding at the end of the program. So that's like a motivational for people to work more on their projects. And so there's no time limit as much as you want. If you want to work on it every day, that's fine. If you want to work on it once a week, that's also very fine.
Thank you, Daniel. Just going through questions because we've only got a couple minutes left. Any questions that we don't manage to answer here, Fash and I will take those on and we'll respond directly to you following the session. Just quick fire questions. Ruth, does the project need to take place where you live, or can it involve a more global community? Absolutely, can be local, regional or global. So that's super fine. Can you give us a scope of your projects? I think Daniel and Danasri and Nicole have touched on that in terms of like time spent in is what you get out. What can be done with the funding from Zohre? It is funding for your project. It's how you choose to use the funding in order to activate or mobilize your project is entirely up to you. You're not strapped down to too many terms and conditions. All that we do is ask that you spend it towards mobilizing and activating your project in some form. I think that's others. Are projects expected to be about bringing foresight methodologies to a particular industry, or can the project be a work of foresight research about a specific subject? Then would be made public. This is a relationship. So the fellowship is a relationship that you have with the NGFP team and SWAF. So all of these things aren't set in stone. These things are spoken about and explored together and agreed together. This is something that we're very passionate about, that this isn't an extraction project. This is very much an exchange, and anything we can do to support you, to make you feel safe and have a trust and work and mobilize your project, and that's what we will do. So everything is agreed together and not rules set upon you. Around bringing foresight methodologies to particular industries, that again is completely open. As I spoke about the 7 global challenges that we invite you, if you have a particular passion with, we would invite you and direct you there. But if your project is around space or education, health, any of the thematical or regional, if it's country-based, everything and anything is what we want to hear about. So the broader, the better. So yeah, it doesn't have to be specific. And I think I'm going to have to stop answering questions and hand back to Vash, but I will answer you following this session via email. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for walking us through that, and thank you, our fellows, for sharing all your insight and thoughts as well. As we move towards the end of this, we just want to share with you a couple of reminders in case you're here and you're not aware of some of these things. The fellowship is currently open. So this opened on 16th of March, and it's going to run till till June 2nd this year. So you have just a few weeks. So, I mean, as some said, make sure you apply early. Okay, don't wait until 2 days then for you to kind of apply. Then judging is going to start from July till August. So all through those 2 months, we're really going to be working with our judges to look through all the applications that's coming. And then by autumn of 2023, the fellows are going to be announced. So this is what the timeline looks like. And please just pay attention to all of these things. And you would, we've seen people asking us these questions after they've applied. When are we going to hear the results? So this is the timeline just to give you a sense of what it looks like. It's possible that you have some of your friends that do not know about this fellowship. The interesting thing that we have found over the years, and just like what Daniel mentioned, is that a friend mentioned this to him. So it is possible that you will be that success connector for a friend that doesn't know that this exists at all. And what if both of you eventually get in? That would be exciting. So you can go to our social media platforms. We share about these applications right now, and you share it with some of your friends as well. We're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, and we're on Instagram. And you can continue to share this across board. Beyond this question and answer that we're having today, we still have 2 other question and answer. So the second session is going to be May 3. So you can as well register on Eventbrite, where you also found this registration. So that's going to be Wednesday, 3rd of May. It's going to be from 3 to 4 p.m. UK time. Then we're going to have the third session, which is kind of really getting to that point where maybe there are some technical challenges that you're having, or just a few things you want to tidy up. That's going to happen on 23rd of May, 2023 from 1 to 2 p.m. UK time. The second session is specifically you're going to meet our judges, some of our judges. So today you're meeting our fellows. The next one, you're going to be meeting our judges. So you can really come and listen to what the judges are going to be looking out for. And so it is okay if you attend all the 3 Q&As, just to give you a sense of what this looks like from different perspectives, and to also see other questions that you have that judges could answer, or some of our team as well could answer. So this is what it looks like at the moment. All right, so as we close, we want to get a sense to be sure if this was useful for you. So if you can go to the chat and share with us, what is one thing that you're taking away from today? So what is one thing that became clearer, or what is one thing that you're learning from here? Then I'm going to be asking our fellows just in 30 seconds each to give us their final words as they're leaving all of us today. While every other person who are joining us today, just go to the chat and just put it there. What is one thing you're taking away from today? And of course, when are you going to start applying? Right, our fellows.
So I'll go first, right? I would say that everyone should apply, right? Do not be scared. You can, if I could do it, if I could be part of the fellowship, you can actually be part of the fellowship. Take whatever industry or whatever you find yourself in, apply foresight to it, put in your heart into it, and apply for the fellowship.
Amazing. Dhanashree?
Yeah, I think for me, as I already said, like I think foresight is something that has opened up so much of new avenues to look at issues very differently. Because as Sarah and Fash already said, like it's about so many issues. It's about diversity, inclusivity. It's about all these different issues which require to be reflected in how we look at the future and how we frame our policies, or we frame our thoughts or research or whatever it may be. So I think it's very important part of all our journeys, and I think we need to engage more and more with foresight. And yeah, this particular fellowship offers that big opportunity, and yeah, everyone should grab onto it.
Amazing. Nicole?
I really think that everybody here should ask themselves, what is the biggest thing? What is the biggest change you'd like to see in the world? What is really close to your heart that you think would benefit a lot of people, and run from there? There are so many opportunities for you to attend other Q&A, and maybe you can ask for some feedback on your projects. Make the most of the opportunities that the NGFP network is providing, so that you can build the best application, and do apply. Even if you end up not being selected, I think that there are other ways to engage. So do apply and make the most of the wishes that you have in your heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Just to kind of finish this up, so there's an email here, fellowship@nextgenforesight.org. This is where you can reach out to us as a team in case there's any question that is popping up in your mind while you're applying. So you can't wait for the next Q&A. Please send us an email, at that email, and we're able to get back to you to give you any insight or anything at all that you need. So we just want to appreciate all our fellows for joining us today. Thank you, Dhanashree. Thank you, Nicole, waking up so early to be here with us. We are so happy and excited about that. Thank you so much, Daniel, joining us from Lagos. Thank you, Sarah, as well, hosting this together with us as well. And of course, we are looking forward to see all your amazing applications, and the judges are looking forward to meeting you as well on 3rd of May, just to share with you some more insight as well. I wish you all the best, and do take care, and send those applications. Bye, everyone, and do take care. All the best.